call the meeting to order at 1 minute of 5. Anyway, all righty. So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the agenda,
Aye.
Aye.
say aye. Anybody opposed? And motion passes. All right. Oh, do we have any public comment? I don't see anybody here. Anybody online? Nope. All righty. So the consent agenda includes the minutes of April 18th. Accounts payable. Did you get some help with that, Rebecca? Or are we in the middle of it?
Right now, but
Okay. For signatures? Okay, good. Personnel recommendation? Just want, you're probably gonna, we'll vote on it later, I'm sure, but.
Right, so Lynn Schmidt is, after 10 years with us, he's retiring. He's going off to do better things in his retirement. He is going to continue to do his emergency management, EMT duties, which aren't related to us, but that's another part of his life that's really important. But he is retiring. He's going to be a huge loss, and we're really going to miss him. But very happy for him that he gets to retire, so yay.
Cheers.
And Gretchen Cotel is moving on. She has accepted a position in another group of districts, so she will be leaving us at the end of June.
What positions do they hold?
She's going to be a driver education instructor.
And she
Now,
was.
sorry.
was
Lynn is currently our co-op coordinator. He does the placement of students
Right.
into workplace learning.
Okay.
And Gretchen is our diesel instructor. Sorry, Tricia.
Yes, okay, I know who that is.
Mhm.
So Nicole, did either of them submit letters?
They did. Is that a practice of the board, is to put the actual letter in here, not just the personnel agenda?
I think so. I think in our school district, in Addison Northwest, we always get the letters.
The actual letter?
Yes.
UCSD doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not used to doing that.
I feel like we have had that.
Okay.
Yes, we have in the
Is that a
past.
preference of the
Yeah, I've
board
seen
to
them.
have the
I've seen
letter?
I'm indifferent.
I don't,
They're
I'm
terse.
indifferent also.
I'm indifferent.
You know,
I'm
I mean,
sorry
you're
to see them
telling
go,
us.
but
Right.
it's up to them. It's,
Yeah, the reason I haven't is because sometimes the letters aren't things, they contain really personal information about health or family, and that's why I haven't, but
Yeah,
if it's,
usually, if it was that
Right.
case, we would do it in the executive session probably. Yeah.
Right.
well, I'll take direction from the board if I should or should not include that in the future. Do you want to have conversation about that?
I think, like you said, I think if the letter is just, retiring, whatever, the personal information is in there, I'll leave that up to you for your discretion. But, because you're right, sometimes there's, because of this or that, and it may not be something that we need to hear in public session especially. But, alrighty.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, I guess. It depends. Sometimes people have things to say possibly to the board of why they're leaving. I mean, and if we don't see the letters, how would we know that?
Well, I mean, I would lean towards the standard being not seeing it unless there's something addressed specifically to the board or that you feel like
Yeah.
we would benefit by knowing and is not overly personal. But I agree kind of with the idea that these letters of resignation can often be very personal and
Yeah.
have very personal information that
Yeah.
I would not feel comfortable with the default being they enter public domain.
No, I could, yeah, executive session would be more appropriate. I mean, the tricky part, we hire and fire people, right? Or not fire or whatever.
You don't actually.
We don't.
You only hire me and fire
Right,
me.
but we
right.
make approvals for those hires and resignations.
Right.
But that's just my 2 cents, so whatever you guys
Thank
all
you.
want.
Any other comments about that? Okay. If they come to you later, let us know. So I'm gonna need a motion to pass the consent agenda. Obviously, there's some other information there, which I'll let you read, regarding the act plays, which are this evening and tomorrow evening, I think.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. And that information is listed.
Yes.
So entertain a motion, pass the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Dan.
Second.
Second, Tricia. All right. All those in favor, please say aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? And motion passes. For discussion, board retreat. We haven't picked a date or any sort of agenda in regards to what people were interested in either training. Go ahead, Jeff.
I will, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, I was just excited to read that. No, I think generally we try to do it on the same third Thursday but it's usually longer, right? It's usually a longer session.
We can do that. That's one way.
Is that,
I don't know how it affects people's, jobs, because you're right, sometimes it would be both, but,
and it's usually in August, is that?
we try and do August.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we usually try and take the month of July off.
Okay.
Some of us do.
Wasn't it in July last year because it was the flooding day?
I think it was actually the second flood, it was the August 8th one or something, when we had the training.
Yes.
And then we went home and everything in Middlebury was flooded. Yes.
Yes.
Water was coming into the North Campus.
Yeah.
That's right.
Stacking up. and-
Nicole swam
Boats were
home.
I
floating.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to
Crazy.
drive through water
It
in
was
order to
crazy.
get, yeah.
So the conversation, I think, if I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, is looking at the board retreat, maybe having a piece regarding policy governance, since we have so many new people involved in what that's all about. I mean, we can give you reading materials and so on, but I think we're also going to possibly take a look at hiring Judy to come in and do a piece on that, and any other subjects maybe tonight that we think that we may want to address during that time. Any thoughts on that? Trainings people need or would like to see, other than, policy governance? Well, we have a little time. We also have to get together with Judy and her schedule and make sure that works for her. But if there's any other things, Nicole, any other thoughts on suggesting any other trainings?
The last few trainings we've had with this board, you've preferred to have them contiguous with a board meeting and keeping the board meeting really short and then doing a 3 or 4 hour training rather than having a Saturday or a whole day. That's just what you've preferred in the past. So a little direction about how you'd like it formatted will help us when we're talking to Judy.
I agree with Judd's recommendation.
I tend to like that idea of
Yeah.
combine and consolidate.
Just
I'd
have a
rather give
long
up an evening
Thursday.
than a Saturday, usually generally speaking.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. We'll see how that works with her schedule, but it should be okay, Jen?
Last year, it was a couple of ladies who did the training were from the School Boards
PSBA.
Association. Are you talking about Judy Sclair-Stein, would it be a
Yes.
similar thing?
Yes.
Oh,
We'll talk to you about that, again, as the agenda comes together and we talk about her schedule and so on.
great. And if her schedule doesn't work, is there like a backup?
Well, VSBA is obviously available. I mean, I'm not, and they were very good. I mean, I liked what they
And do
did.
those have a fee? If Judy, presumably, we'd have to hire her. Does the SBA, what's
I
the
don't know.
economics of that?
I don't know.
I can't remember,
That
did we
just might
pay
be a
them?
reason to use it.
Usually
Yeah, was it-
charge, yeah.
$1,200, I think we paid them last year.
Okay.
Because I imagine that's significantly less than having Judy come from halfway across the country and.
That's a good point.
Well, she can also do a Zoom piece too. I mean,
Certainly, yeah,
you know.
yeah. Just thinking of the
Doesn't have to be
economics of
that
it,
way.
whatever it is, it might
Right.
just, if we have that resource available and we're already part of that team.
Okay. All right. Another alternative, but we'll get back to that. Dan?
At the end of this 1-hour lecture I went to the other day on being a new board member, they talked about these new quality standard things coming out for next July. When would we start understanding that or training on that? Would that,
Good question.
it looks kind of daunting whenever anybody talks about quality and audits and stuff like that. It looks,
That just made me think of something too. I know, like, usually in our district, when we do board retreat, part of that retreat is goal setting for the board and
Right.
the superintendent.
Which we need to do. any other conversation about that? We'll get back to you, and see how things go. Anyway, sign up for board signatures on checks. I do believe that's online. Rebecca, is that the case?
Yeah, we just wanted to
Remind people?
remind people and, you know, if that doesn't work, that's not working, take suggestions or
Mhm.
give suggestions about how we get these things approved, because it is taking the business office quite a bit of time some weeks to hustle up some people to come in.
Jen?
I think there is some discussion, or there was last week that, or month, that we don't necessarily need 2 signers or signers unless it's over a certain amount or there's some extenuating circumstances. If the board is comfortable with that, is that an option? Is that what I'm understanding?
So the board can direct us to do it anyway. You could say, you know, Nicole could sign off on it, or she could okay it, and then you guys could sign it at a meeting, or there's any number of ways to do it. We just do it this way because that's how the board has
Right.
directed in the past. So if the board's interested in having different options to look at or something, we'd be happy to do that too. We just kind of want to see where people were at. I don't want to be bugging people all the time, but it is important for us to get this stuff out on time.
Jen?
If there is a way to make it so that the bills could be paid, but then we could do something along these lines, even if it meant I had to show up half an hour early or 10 minutes early or something to a board meeting. Again, that idea of consolidating. I know that for me, I usually wait, and if there is a hole in that schedule, that's when I jump in, because it's just a lot to get to town, sign them and leave, even though it's only a short commitment. So if we could rearrange it to be part of a meeting at least once a month, that would be great, because I would take care of one of the Thursdays, or one of the billing cycles, right?
It depends how payroll runs.
Mhm.
It's not always the same.
Bill?
Yeah, I think everybody needs to be a part of actually reviewing those, but I don't think it's a thing that we do in a meeting like this, and I do think that we need more than one person doing it. It's important that we know what's getting paid, how much is getting paid, and that people are up on this stuff. And, you know, frankly, bringing it to a meeting once a month would be insane. I think that people just need to go sign up. It's actually very simple to do. And, you know, it's an interactive calendar sent to you. You just have to put your name down and remember to show up. So I think it's a commitment we should all make.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments? I know some people, their schedules during the day are not able to come in. Looking at the people that have been pretty good about signing it up, I'm kind of the backup. I have not stepped forward because I'm here for other things numerous times during the week, but I've seen them done both ways in my 20-something years. Is some being brought to the meetings, some of us go in earlier and do them, and then, like you said, the final sign-off is here. But other thoughts from anybody?
For anybody who hasn't done it, we got some new board members here. It's like William was saying, it's not terribly complicated. It's actually enlightening to go through and say, oh, there was flowers bought, or there were calendars bought, or there were, wow, what is this place that has, you know, $5,000 of art supplies? Okay, you go through it and you realize, oh, they got all these. So it's interesting when you have the time to go through it. If you don't have the time, you can be a little bit quicker and just make sure the numbers line up. I don't know if you guys have, I'm not really a corporate guy, so this was new to me to learn how to do this. Some people have done this sort of stuff before, but it's pretty easy. It usually only takes 15 minutes or so, Bill? How long does it usually take you?
No, I agree with you. I think it's, you know, 15 minutes to 35, depending on what's going on.
Right.
And now that the construction is done, things are much easier. But I do think it's very beneficial for people to see what's being spent to actually run this place.
Especially if you're new.
And they get it really organized for you. It's really easy.
Yeah, and Rebecca's always there. You know, if you have a question, what is it, you know, and so on, what are they talking about?
My work is 2 minutes away.
Okay, so I'll just note that it's missing a
Great.
sign.
Okay. So we'll see how it goes. If we have to do some major changeover, we will. But just a reminder, that it's there. And again, the sign up is online. The high yield sweep account, I would say that's probably Rebecca.
Yeah, for the next two items, I'm talking a lot tonight.
Thank you.
I've been working pretty closely with the National Bank of Middlebury, just trying to get some efficiencies for the office. And one of the things they talked to us about is that we currently have all of our money in a regular checking account. And in my past experience, I have used a sweep account, and it's actually been very beneficial. The interest rate's usually it's higher, which is great when we have a lot of money in the account. So I wanted to just talk to the board and see if they would like to entertain doing something like that. So how it would really work is we would just open a separate account. And basically, our general fund only had money in it that we needed that day. All the other money would be in this sweep account earning a higher rate of interest. And they just sweep it back and forth every day to cover our expenses. And they get to invest that money. And, you know, instead of getting 0.25%, we could get up to maybe 2%, which when you have a couple $1 million in the account every time, is very helpful. I don't think it's something that's ever been done here before, but it's pretty well done in a lot of districts. So I just wanted to get a temperature reading to see if people thought that was something we should explore and maybe open up an account for that, or how people felt about that.
Other than the fact that it's just not been done before. Is there a reason it's not been done before?
I don't think so. I mean, I've done it at other schools before. It's pretty common practice. It is a smaller budget here, so maybe they thought because you don't have the millions and millions of dollars all the time, it wasn't worth it. It would actually help protect our money some too, by not all having it in the same account. So.
Bill?
Yeah, if you can explain, what are the advantages? I know it gets swept daily. What is it going to give us in the way of interest, say if you did it over a year, versus the extra time that it might take? Is it going to take extra time for you and or for somebody else in the office?
Once it's set up, the bank does it all. I'll just get an extra statement a month to take a look at, but it won't be any, we don't have to worry about moving the money around. That automatically happens, so basically it's set and forget.
So you can't overdraw
Can't
the
overdraw.
account with the sweep behind it? I think that would be the biggest downside if they say, oh,
Yeah.
well, it's not
They
here.
take that responsibility and they make
Okay.
sure that they just move it every night, what we need.
Okay. Even 2% is kind of,
If you took our average daily balance, is there actually any kind of positive flow for us?
You know, I haven't actually calculated that over the cash flow year, but like say right now, we have like $1 million in the general fund, and it will help carry us through the summer, which, you know, we're only earning 0.25% on, and we could possibly be earning between 2 and 3 if we had it in the sweep account. You know, it's not a lot of money, but it's a little bit, and every little bit helps.
Okay, thank you.
Rebecca, maybe I missed this, is there a fee for this kind of account?
That's my question.
They don't charge to do that work?
They've been waiving a lot of fees for us lately.
Okay, cool.
That was my question, thank you.
There's not a lot of additional bookkeeping work.
they're getting 7% and they're getting us 2.
Yeah,
Right.
there's that.
Yeah, they're getting paid, don't worry.
I did attach in my board report last month and this month, just the PowerPoint bank provided and a little more information. Nothing no one has to make a decision on at this point, but if the board was interested, we could certainly get the paperwork together to open the account and talk about it more down the board would like. I was just kind of taking the temperature reading tonight.
I don't see any reason not to do so. No, that's a double negative, but yes.
Would it be appropriate for me to have some paperwork drawn up and bring it to the June meeting?
I think so, thank you.
Thank you.
The BRF account movement to National Bank of Middlebury.
Yeah, currently the birth account is at M&T, and M&T's been a bit challenging for us since they changed over. And it would be more convenient for us if we could move that account to National Bank of Middlebury, and didn't know how the board would feel about that. that would only leave us with a CD for the Roger Williams Scholarship Fund, a CD that's there, and that was set up a long time ago, and it's not really even our money, it belongs to ACSD. For whatever reason, we haven't hold it, I haven't gotten all the details on it. But if we could have our stuff all at one bank, it would be easier for us.
So is the rest of our financial, all the rest of our accounts are at National Bank of Millbury already?
Correct.
Which will get bought by M&T in no time, but,
I don't think so.
no?
Nope. Not that bank.
Okay, that was good to hear, they're stable.
Not that bank. Very conservative, very stable.
Okay.
So just a thought. So again,
Okay, thank you.
The bank will change
You need
things
paperwork
every
for
time,
that, too?
2 years.
we'd have to open up a new account and then have Jane back close the old account.
Okay.
We motion for that in the June meeting if people were thinking that would be a good idea.
Put that together too then.
Okay.
Maybe for the June meeting, if that works. It gives you enough time to be able to
Oh,
do
yeah,
that.
definitely.
Thank you.
The June meeting will also have the line of credit application as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for finding all that out and being open to change. Okay, any other questions, Bill, anybody? Steve is holding out, must be eating
The
dinner.
only question I had was, between the two banks, are there any services that M&T offers that we can't get at National Bank of Middlebury? You know, we have an account at both, and M&T makes us crazy. I thought it would be easier going to a bigger bank when they expanded, but it's not. And so I was just wondering if there are any services they offer that maybe National Bank of Middlebury does not if you moved everything there.
Not that I'm aware of right now, Bill. Currently, M&T is our credit card holder. We are moving that over to National Bank of Middlebury. We have found M&T to be really difficult to work with over the last year. One of the reasons too is they used to have 2 very seasoned municipal bankers there who have left in the last year and a half. And they're just continually going through municipal bankers, so you don't have a consistent person to speak to. Whereas the National Bank of Middlebury, I send an email and they sometimes almost trip over themselves to get over here to see us. So I just think it feels better. I can't imagine there's something that we need that they can't do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Moving on to the action agenda, the plaque.
So you have in your packet, they sent us a plaque and it had some misspellings on it, so we sent it back. But we have the opportunity now to approve a plaque before it goes to, I don't know, the melting and the making of the plaque. So this is the current plan for the plaque, and I need either a vote yes or direction to change. These were the people originally that the school board said to put on the plaque when we had that discussion at a previous meeting. But I also want you to double check the spelling for us, please. We've double and triple checked it, but sometimes a 7th set of eyes catches something.
What was misspelled before, the architect?
Suzanne's name.
Oh, no. Okay.
Decided a location yet, where it's gonna be?
We haven't. When we get it, I think we're gonna walk it around. Oftentimes they put it on the outside of the school, but our school doesn't really have a place like that, so it'll probably be inside of the school.
It is. My name's tricky.
Yeah.
Just
It
a-
looks
a-
good.
Quick thing on here, early on in the process, I remember when we went through the decision to hire Ken Sullivan as a clerk of the works type of thing. Was he here all the way through to the end? Because I sort of stopped hearing his name and he wasn't coming to facilities meetings with Eric Lafayette and others. I just,
Can you answer that?
sure, whoever.
So Ken worked for EEI. He wasn't the clerk of the works. He actually worked for EEI. The board had originally contracted with Peterson Consulting to do the clerk of the works, and when I got here, Tim and I talked about it, and we weren't really getting any bang for the buck, so I
Right.
kind of stepped into that role. But Ken was here through the whole project as person on the ground. Eric was really more the spokesperson.
Okay.
So they were both
Good, and that's just my error, because I had Ken's role incorrect, so that's totally my error.
Yeah.
Great, marvelous, thank you. And thank you for stepping into that role and filling that void. I agree, I didn't feel like we were getting much back from that hire, that position.
Any other questions? So we need a motion to accept the spellings on the current plaque list and send it back in. It's gonna be bronze, is that right?
Yeah, except maybe a motion to accept the plaque as
Presented
presented.
by the superintendent.
So moved.
Dan, second by Mike. All those in favor, say aye or raise
Aye.
your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, anybody opposed? And motion passes. Thank you very much for catching the spellings. The award for summer work.
We had originally hoped to bring you a bid that we wanted to pursue for the summer work of the floor, epoxying the floor in the mechanical science lab, cleaning and painting and doing the floor in the manufacturing lab, and cleaning and painting in the welding lab. We received only one bid, and the bid was so far out of the realm of realism that we're not even bringing it forward. So what we are going to do is take a step back and try to break the projects into smaller pieces and spread them out more across the year. One of the biggest problems was just nobody was wanting to bid because all the construction people are very busy. So Becca has some leads, and we're going to contact them one at a time and try to get more reasonable bids, hopefully during down times through the winter when maybe other projects aren't going on. So we have no action item today, sadly, but now you know what's going on.
Any
Does
other
the
questions? Go ahead.
Bid process and all that work the same for CTEs as it does for all the school
Right,
districts?
so we put together an RFP, it was published in the paper
Yeah.
and all that.
Okay.
Same process.
Okay.
We had a number in mind and it came back
Yeah.
5 times that number.
Because
Yeah.
depending on the amount of the project, like, board members have to be present for the opening of the bids,
Okay, yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah, this one, we certainly didn't anticipate it being the number.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had hoped it would be under the number you would have to be there.
Gotcha.
We did go through and put it in 2 different papers, published in 2 different
Yeah.
papers, and I
Okay.
reached out individually to like 12 different vendors, because I suspected I wouldn't get 3 bids, and I wanted to be able to get a waiver from
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're not going down that path.
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
so more to come,
Okay.
and hopefully we will have a good pile of bids the next time, and we can have a little bid party.
Are these critical infrastructure things, or, I mean, epoxying the floor is
They're
nice.
not no, they're aesthetic, yeah. With the labs just haven't been touched in many years, and they need a
Sure.
significant overhaul.
Buy more of those little rubber things and put them down. Yeah, things are crazy. I'm in the middle of it myself.
Next is sale of assets.
So we have 2 assets that we have been doing quite a lot of historical digging on. One is the poultry processing plant, poultry processing plant, which some of you are probably on the board when that was purchased.
Yes.
It's a trailer where you can bring chickens or ducks in and put their little heads in the cone and cut them off and process them into like wrapped cellophane things. And the other is a flash freezer, which is also a trailer. That is actually a pretty cool piece of gear. That's a flash freezer for, you can freeze anything. It's a little, the historical records here are not strong, so it's a little unclear if there were terms of the original grant, but we do know that the grant was how many years ago, at least?
Jack, like 2014.
Yeah,
so for
at least
10 years.
10. So most other things that you get grants for, and we've looked at some of our other sort of USDA grants, federal grants, those sorts of things. Usually there's a time limit that after a certain amount of time, then the strings are not attached. So we can't find evidence, but we are in the place now where those assets are valuable and not being used and are sitting there and deteriorating to the point where somebody else can't use them if we don't act soon. So our intent, because we can't find the historical records, and you all on the board may know more than we actually do. We've reached out to all of our community partners that we can think of. We've reached out to ASCD, we talked to Tim, we talked to Peter, we talked to Len. So we just don't have the data, but we think that it's completely above board at this point to move forward and sell those assets after 10 years. They haven't been used in over 4 years, and they're just parked out behind North Campus. The current agriculture teacher has no interest in doing mobile poultry processing, and we haven't used the flash freezer because usually what would happen is you'd process the poultry and then you'd flash freeze it. But because the assets are actually pretty cool and they're still in good shape, and there's a lot of sustainable food movements around Vermont, we feel like this might be an opportune time to sell those assets and hopefully get some money, because what the agriculture department very much needs is a new tractor. So that's what we're hoping to do, sell the assets and purchase a tractor. But because I can't find the historical records, I felt like it would be prudent for me to come to the board and make sure I had an action that approved me to move forward with the sales.
Any questions? Go ahead, Dan.
Are there any, if we were to find that there are consequences associated with the grant, what would happen? They would charge us back something, or? I mean,
Right.
if it hasn't been used in 4 years anyway, it really makes sense, but.
Right, our plan would be that should something come up later, right, we would react to whatever that was. So
Okay.
let's say we were contacted by somebody and we found out that we were supposed to, I don't know, give the money to somebody or give the thing to somebody, we would just backtrack and do that.
Okay.
We couldn't, if we'd already sold it, obviously we couldn't give it back, but we would come to some, consensus about what to do with the money, or give them some part of the profit, I don't know. You know.
So it sounds like you know it was purchased with grant funds.
Well, actually, I think it was, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Some of it was money from our birth account and
Right.
things like that. So what I've been able to track, especially the mobile poultry unit. I do have a document that shows that there was money used from the birth account to do quite a bit of that build. So that was our money. Whether we had any supplemental things from other places, I don't know, but about $50,000 of it was the Hannaford Christmas money.
Okay.
And the folklore around this project, which I cannot substantiate, is that the project itself cost close to $100,000. And there are stickers and branding from USDA on there, which would lead me to believe that they probably did have some part in this. So it seems, the best we can guess is that it was a cooperative project where maybe there was matching money, or maybe there was incentive for local agriculture, because there are a lot of projects like that. But I had hoped to bring you a paper that said this is the actual grant application and these are the terms, but we cannot find that. That is not in our records. No.
Is that something that you need to ask our lawyer about before you sell it?
Well, first thing would be, I need to ask the board, right?
Okay.
If I can entertain this. We have legal counsel where we're using
Okay.
Pietro's law firm now, and we usually get answers back pretty quickly from them. But, it's a little tough when you don't actually have the documents, because generally the lawyer would review the document and
Yeah.
then tell you what you could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then would you bring back a bill of sale for the board to review?
Right.
Once somebody put
Right.
an offer in?
Because they're such unique pieces of gear, we'll probably try to get into a relationship with an auction house. And also maybe do front porch forum, and I don't know. I know that there is at least one local group who's interested, but whether or not they follow through and or have any cash is another thing. I doubt that we'll get anything near what we put into it, but I'd rather it go to use than
Yeah.
sit behind North Campus for a long period of time.
And there's somebody to assess like the value of it and what you would sell it for? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we would hire that auction house
The
for, I
auction house
think,
for,
because
okay.
it's yeah, and Kelly Mills is also going to reach out to people that she knows to see, is there anything like this at all? It's kind of a custom, that it was a thing that was a vision,
Yeah.
that the vision, I assume played out for a while, but hasn't been acted upon for 4 years.
Okay.
I do remember
Oh, there you go.
getting it
Yeah.
and or sharing it with other, I don't know if it was other vocational centers or not, but it was definitely other people were using it. It
Yeah.
was moving, that's why it was.
It was getting
a
moved
trailer.
around.
Yeah.
It was being moved around.
I agree,
Right.
that's what I recall, yeah.
Yeah, and it hasn't been,
So Kelly's-
nobody's asked us.
Nobody's
I've reached
inquired.
out to the VACTED people,
And neither
right?
of those can be used with your goat project in the meat?
No, we don't actually slaughter the goats ourselves. We put that out, so, or sell the goats to other people and then they do that, right?
And I'm sure culinary can't use the flash frozen.
Yeah, it's a much more commercial product than that.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it's a cool piece of gear. If you were a commercial fisherman or something, it would be like
Yeah.
really neat. So I just would like some action I just want it on record that we're being very above board on this, right?
When the time comes, oh, sorry, and I think he was ahead of me.
Bill?
Yeah, so I have a question. I'm assuming that every time we do a grant, that there's a nice big fat folder or file that has everything in it, that has to do with the grant, what's purchased, the rules, where the money is coming from, where is it going. So it sounds like we've got some pretty big holes in our history if we have nothing on this. Is that correct?
That's correct. I can assure the board that moving forward, all of the grants that we're currently working with, there are big fat file folders on. But,
Okay, that's kind of what I was asking.
but backtracking, we are very light on historical documentation of all kinds.
We
Okay.
might reach out to Lynn Hill and see if we can help
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's in his head. But anyway, and, but I do recall, like Linda said, that there was a shared piece of equipment with the other CTE schools.
Are there any board meeting minutes from 2014 that reference any of this?
Look at those. Yeah, I will pull those.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
that's a good idea.
There might be some information in those.
Yeah, thank you.
Jen?
Maybe searchable.
When prudent, is there gonna be a list of the, sort of what these assets are as far as like the BTUs of the freezer or, so that one could really make a decision on it and know if they could even have a place to plug it in and things like that?
Yes, we've created those,
Okay.
and should the board vote to move forward with this, I'll actually send that out as part of the board report on tomorrow, and we'll start circulating it with any industry and CTE partners we can think of.
Thank you.
And feel free, when you get it, if you know somebody, please feel free to circulate it. We'll
Sure.
provide it electronically, so it's easy to do. Yeah.
Seeing no other questions, so you need a motion to basically sell these assets.
Correct.
Do you want the specific items listed in the motion? That'd be helpful.
I think so, because we have a lot of assets, yeah. So the mobile poultry processing plant and the mobile flash freezer.
So I would move that we pursue legal and finding out if we can sell these things and going through that process of the mobile poultry processing plant and the flash freezer.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Okay, Bill? Bill's voice. Any other questions? All right, and you'll come back to us with some of that.
Yeah, my intent
When you're
would be, if we had an interested buyer, to bring that information back to the board. Although the exact offer would probably be an executive session, so that we didn't ruin our chances.
Yeah.
Does that motion go far enough? Just to approve it for legal review? Do we also want to say if legal approves it, then you can go forward with soliciting bids?
I
I don't know
think,
how far we
it's,
can.
all she's asking for is just a motion to get it going, I think,
Okay.
you know. And I would assume that the legal is gonna be, we asked that question already, and they would be used, but, the actual sale of it and so on, that's another step.
Yeah, no, but just solicit bids, yeah, okay, I mean, I
Solicit
don't know
is
how
what I'm
far.
looking for, yeah.
you're-
Pursue sales or pursue
Okay.
next steps?
Yeah.
or- How would you, yeah.
So you would like us to amend the
Right.
motion?
What empowers you to do what you?
I would like the ability to solicit bids,
Okay.
Because that
You wanna
isn't
add that to it?
promising anybody anything as far as
Pending-
sales, but I
pending
can.
legal
So I would
review.
move that we
Yeah.
solicit bids on
So Linda, can you read the motion as it stands?
All I heard from Judd was that he wants to move that we give Nicole approval to pursue the legal review to determine the ability to sell these assets,
it. And
specific
maybe,
assets.
and maybe we could add to it and solicit bids.
Okay. Good.
Does that give
You're-
you what
Do
you?
you have to clarify that legal approves it first?
Yeah.
Like, does that have to be part of that? Like,
They don't
you're-
usually approve, they don't.
Okay.
It's just checking in with them,
Recommend.
it's just one
Yes,
more
they
due
recommend.
diligence thing.
Yeah.
We're just asking you to do that before, Glenn.
Of course.
Because you don't take the stand. Okay, I'll move to approve that,
To
then,
do
be amended.
Hold on, hold on.
So I have Judd made the motion, I have Bill seconded, is
Thank
that
you.
correct?
Yes,
So you have no say.
yeah, you
Oh,
have.
Yeah.
a second.
Thank you for the
We're good.
suggestion.
But we amended it, okay?
They have.
So how does
Judd-
that work?
It's
Judd
their motion,
amended it.
they have to-
Oh,
Judd
Judd,
amended it.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
But
learning
I
all
do
these
appreciate your
rules.
suggestion, it was well taken.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Judd.
Thank you,
Linda,
Judd.
you're all set with that?
It was okay.
So with that motion on the floor, and I think we've clarified what we need, what Nicole needs actually, more than anything. So either raise your hand or say aye if you're in favor of the motion.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries, thank you. And I'm sure Nicole will get back to us. And if you have a question afterwards, too, feel free to call Nicole and want to take a tour of the units. The poultry one is kind of interesting, I do recall that. Not that there was any
Less
live
clean.
chickens put in it.
Never compromise the chicken.
It's clean.
Oh, yeah. They left them pretty clean.
Yeah.
That's your.
It had to be,
Yeah.
yeah. It had to be, and, you know,
We
like you
had to
said.
have an inspector with them whenever they're using it.
Yes. I do remember that.
Wow.
Okay, any other, we're moving on to informational agenda, any other public comments from anybody? Nobody online? We do have Ron Smith here, but I think that's an executive session piece, yes, thank you. Seeing none, I'm looking for policy 4.1 governing style comments about the meeting. Judd, thank you. Thank you, Judd.
We made great time today, we stayed
Yes, we
really,
did.
I mean, to think that at 5:37, I happened to look up there at 5:35, and we were basically right on schedule. Yeah, I think it was a good meeting. It would have been great if we could have awarded summer work, I agree. Those are big tasks. I don't know if everybody understands, like, it's not just like going in and washing the walls, it's all that ceiling stuff, like, there's just, it's a colossal job. But anyway, better luck breaking it into parts. Looking forward to the next part of this.
Alrighty, thank you, John. So I need a motion to go into executive session pertaining to, let's see now, we're gonna do the personnel one first. It's 1 VSA 313A1, labor relations agreement with employees and negotiations. And the second one is regarding Nicole's evaluation, which is 1 VSA 313A3.
And are we inviting anybody else to attend?
We have somebody in line,
Okay.
And Wendy.
and Wendy, thank you.
Who is online?
Ron Smith, and he represents Nicole,
He's our lead auditor.
lead auditor, thank you. It's for Linda's notes.
I mean,
Good
Actually,
job.
I think he's the owner of the firm. I'm not sure. Yeah.
We need to have a vote to go into executive session. Motion,
So moved.
thank you, Jed. Second,
Second. Has a die.
the crowd, anyway.
Choose whoever you want, Linda.
I'm good.
Yeah.
gonna
All those
try
in
now.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, thank you. Motion carries.